creativity is such an important part of the recovery process from relational trauma and single incident trauma, and I'm going to tell you a little bit why. So first of all, when we're being creative, we are using both the left and the right hemisphere of our brain. Okay, they're working together. When we're being creative, both of these sides of our brain are working together. And so what happens in trauma is that the communication between the left and the right sides of our brain gets disrupted, okay, very significantly. And so when we're being creative, we're actually kind of exercising our brain. We're kind of exercising a muscle that hasn't been used for a long time or that needs to be strengthened, okay? And so every single time we're doing something creative or something new or novel to us, we are really engaging both the left and the right sides of our brain, and we're really encouraging them or forcing them to kind of work together and to communicate, okay? So some of the things that I encourage folks to do, and there's so many different things that fall under this creative category. You can learn how to mosaic, how to paint, you can draw, you can work with clay on your own, just buying clay and then kind of forming it yourself. You can take a pottery class. You could take a new kind of dancing class, okay? You can explore with different kinds of music. And when I encourage people to do this, it's like really listening to music. You're not listening to music while you're watching TV or while you're exercising or while you're painting. You are just sitting down and you're listening to music. It's almost like a mindful way of listening to music, okay? Anytime that we're trying something new, poetry, reading poetry is huge, okay? Reading fairy tales, myths, all these things require the creative part of our brain. Writing a story, a short story, whatever that may look like, okay? All of these things require the creative part of our brain, require deep communication and synthesis between the left and the right hemispheres of our brain. That gets disrupted in trauma. So this is a way that we can exercise this to kind of really, really encourage that deeper communication that gets cut off. The other part of this too is just kind of this idea that for many of us with relational trauma or single incident trauma, we become such creatures of deep habit, or like it's almost like I would almost kind of say like an overstructure. We just get into routines, tend to get into routines and really stick with them. And if we have to stray from them, it can create pretty intense anxiety in many of us. And so when we're really shifting from that, when we're doing something new, when we're stepping out of what is really comfortable for us, that is really going to aid us in our healing process. A big part of the healing process in general, which you'll hear a lot about, is getting really away from this black and white thinking, this very rigid and structured thinking and way of living in the world, and being more willing to be flexible in our patterns, in our ways of life, in our ways of thinking. And so when we're doing new things, even if that means we're like uncomfortable or clumsy about it, this is really going to aid us in our healing process. I hope that you found this helpful. Thanks for coming on here to just listen and grow.